Hi guys, it's Bob from World 5 List, and if you've ever been mistreated at a job or perhaps by a lover, you probably understand the desire to go out with a bang, or at least get the last word. Here now are 7 people who said goodbye in epic ways. Number 7. The airplane meltdown. Now, it would be fair to say that we all have bad days at work. Most of the time, we try to keep our frustration to ourselves for the sake of keeping our job. However, that's not always the case. Everyone has a breaking point, and Steven Slater reached his in 2010 in an epic fashion. At the time, he was working as a flight attendant for JetBlue and was aboard a flight due to land at John F. Kennedy International Airport. Steven was kinda having a really bad day to begin with, according to his former colleagues, and thanks to a passenger who'd been trying to retrieve their overhead luggage during the boarding process, really, don't be that guy. He received a cut to his head earlier in the day. He experienced yet more customer-related grief when the plane landed. That's when a defiant passenger refused to sit down as the flight was taxiing to the gate. The employee of over 20 years then launched into what some referred to as a flight attendant F-bomb meltdown. Over the plane's intercom, he catapulted into a profanity-laced tirade, seemingly directed at all of the plane's passengers. And for his grand finale, Steven grabbed a few beers for later, popped open the plane's emergency side door, and exited by riding down the emergency chute. So long, suckers! Slater would be arrested and convicted on criminal mischief charges, for which he served 1 year of probation, a light punishment compared to the 7 years of prison that he originally faced for a variety of charges relating to the incident. Now, while most of us would never do something like this, it is fair to say that anyone who's worked in customer service understands Mr. Slater's frustration. Number 6. Quitting on a cake. In 2009, W. Neil Berrett presented his employer, Hunter's Point Naval Shipyard, with a formal resignation letter and a cake that was iced with an informal resignation letter. In the cake's letter, Berrett referred to his employment as nothing short of pure excitement, joy, and whim. He also stated that he was proud to have been part of such an outstanding team and wished his former employer only the finest in future endeavors. Now, that all sounds like W. Neil Berrett genuinely enjoyed his job, so why did he quit? Well, unfortunately, he was experiencing health problems and wanted to spend more time with his family. So, with a farewell as epic and delicious as Berrett's, we can only imagine that he'll never be forgotten by his former employer, and that they probably gave him an outstanding reference during his next job hunt. Number 5. The power of a letter. But first, have you ever said goodbye in an epic way? Let me know all about it in the comments below. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because you don't want to miss any of my latest videos. In an admirable move in favor of social justice, Eleanor Roosevelt resigned from the Daughters of the American Revolution when they denied African-American singer Marian Anderson the opportunity to perform at Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. The organization had established a rule against welcoming African-American performers at Constitution Hall in 1932 due to protests over mixed seating at the concerts of black artists. Roosevelt's resignation letter, which was dated February 26th of 1939, stated a clear disapproval of the decision. The First Lady, who was ahead of her time when it came to her beliefs in social and racial equality, also stated in her resignation letter that the organization failed at the opportunity to lead in an enlightened way. Now, I'm not sure what the most epic part of her farewell is: the sense of justice that prompted her to resign, her candid resignation letter, or the example that she set by her bold move. You see, after Roosevelt's resignation, the federal government then invited Marian Anderson to sing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. The singer accepted the offer, and on April 9th of 1939, 75,000 people attended the performance. Thanks to the two women, the issue of racial discrimination would be thrust into the national spotlight. Number 4. Quitting with a marching band. After spending 3 years at a hotel job that he hated and enduring a long and drawn-out war with hostile management, Joey DeFrancesco decided he'd had enough. In August of 2011, the then 23-year-old reported to his job at the Renaissance Providence Hotel in Rhode Island, equipped with a letter of resignation and a 19-piece brass marching band. The group snuck quietly into the hotel and waited for a member of management to appear. When Joey's boss discovered that the young man had brought his friends to work, he immediately ordered them to leave. They were happy to comply. After Joey got the final word in, that is. After stating his intention to quit his job and dropping his resignation letter on the floor, the marching band then erupted into boisterous song and then followed Joey as he exited the hotel. Now, while Joey's resignation was pretty epic, what caused him to make such a concerted effort to quit in a memorable way? Well, according to Joey, he'd played a big part in a unionization effort among employees. While the effort was successful, the protracted battle strained relations between workers and management. Joey claims that he lost a lot of his previously held shifts after the unionization took place. Meanwhile, management contends that the Renaissance Providence Hotel is a rewarding place to work, and that the health and satisfaction of employees are their top priority. Now, if you want to go out with a bang, you should hire an orchestra to walk you out. Number 3. CAFETERIA EXTRAVAGANZA. When Doug Walker got tired of the less than pleasant duties that come along with being a night shift janitor, he decided to quit in style. Armed with a portable stereo, Doug entered the cafeteria at his place of employment and hit the play button. As the Space Odyssey theme began to play, Doug stood on a chair and waited a few moments to gain the attention of his colleagues. When the time was right, he then ripped his black button-down shirt open, revealing the words "I quit" painted on his chest. While some of Doug's fellow employees can be heard laughing as he stages his exit, not everyone was so amused. As Doug made his way toward the building's exit, a member of management threatened to call the police while chasing him down. It seems like Doug made the right choice by quitting his job. He's now known as the guy with the glasses and runs the website channelawesome.com, which is quite the career change. Number 2. A royal resignation. King Edward VIII would be declared the King of England in January of 1936, following the death of his father. He wasn't exactly dissatisfied with his status. I mean, after all, who would hate to be king? In fact, he left his position in the name of love. You see, Edward VIII wanted to marry a twice-divorced American woman by the name of Wallis Simpson. He'd been carrying on an affair with her, and she had no royal connections. His family was kind of less than thrilled about that. Still though, the heart wants what the heart wants, and King Edward was willing to do whatever it took to legitimize his relationship with Simpson. When he announced his plans to marry her, the British Prime Minister attempted to talk him out of it, reminding him that society would never accept a divorced woman as their queen. King Edward, though, remained undeterred and announced his plans to voluntarily abdicate the throne over a radio broadcast on December 11th of 1936. And in his own words, quote, "I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility and to discharge my duties as king, as I would wish to do without the help and support of the woman I love." End quote. That's when Edward's younger brother, Prince Albert, then became king, and Edward's self-imposed demotion landed him the title Duke of Windsor. Not a bad deal after betraying centuries of family honor. The relationship between Edward and the royal family did remain strained for years, After marrying Simpson in France in 1937, the couple then spent the remainder of their years in France and various parts of Europe. Edward would pass away in 1972, and then his wife followed him in 86. In the royal family's defense, they did bury the couple in a cemetery designated for royals. And number 1, the end of an affair. In late 2015, YouTube user Beanie Neil Pudsey figured out that his girlfriend was cheating on him with another guy named Thomas Rue. Now, if you ever caught your significant other cheating, you'd probably fly right off the handle, wouldn't you? But not Pudsey. Somehow, he managed to maintain his composure for 3 whole weeks while plotting a breakup with his philandering girlfriend so she would never forget. Now, when the day finally approached, Pudsey's girlfriend had no idea what was in store for her. In fact, she thought the opposite was coming, a proposal. Being the ever-so-crafty cheating victim that he is, Pudsey had gone to painstaking lengths to make the unfaithful woman think that he wanted to marry her. He lined the stairway of their home with tea-light candles, blared romantic music, and left a seemingly sincere love letter displayed on the bed. Meanwhile, he discreetly positioned his phone to catch the precise moment that her happiness would turn into utter disappointment. After the girlfriend read the first love letter, Pudsey then encouraged her to wear the deer antlers that he'd placed on the bed. But why? Well, to simply make her look even more silly than she would already appear once her infidelity would be exposed. He then informed her that he planned on taking her on a romantic trip to see the Northern Lights, faking tears with what I'd consider to be supreme acting skills. And then he handed her a heart-shaped card made out of pink construction paper. This is where things get intense, because as Pudsey's deceitful, soon-to-be ex-girlfriend opens what appears to be an adorable love note, he reminds her that it's important for her to read it out loud. But what she doesn't know is that the camera is rolling, and that it's picking up the sound. She can be heard reading the final lines of what started out as a heartfelt poem. This is the question I'm asking you. And then she freezes up. Pudsey finishes the poem for her, yelling, "Who the bleep is Thomas Rue?" The video ends quickly thereafter with Pudsey swiftly descending the stairs of their home, locking the front door, and depositing his key. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know which of these was your favorite and what epic ways that you've said goodbye in the comments below. Be sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you next time on World 5.